All right, today we're here with a very special guest to talk about really picking and choosing who you should work with. All that's coming up next here on the LVTV podcast. All right, so normally when we do these podcasts, we don't have such an amazing moment before we press record, but we had one, and we'll talk about that later on. But you are tuned into the LVTV podcast. Very, very special guest, Felicia Kelly. Y'all give it up for. This is where we talk all things content, clients, cash flow for the profit and impact-focused coaches and consultants. So thank you, all for listening or watching, however you're getting the podcast. So today, Felicia, what up, though?
Hey now, hello. I appreciate you, letting me record in my new little content space. We haven't really tried it out until today, so you are guinea pig right now.
Yeah, I love it. It's you come through clear. We can hear you. You don't have a gorilla behind you like jumping off the wall. So it's cool. I tell people like, listen, real life is real life. If you got kids or you got stuff going on, I'm not one of them like it has to be perfect. What you say is all that I care about.
That's dope. I appreciate you having me.
Man, it's listen, you came highly recommended.
You are, like you said earlier, we already had a moment. I'm still wiping my little tears for those who are looking at this like, why Fee got a little tear in her eye? Not me. I'm not. It's not my fault, y'all.
Yeah, I don't blame it on me either. It's the Lord. That's all we gonna put there. So I'm excited to talk to you. So I want always ask my guests their Genesis story. So I want to hear from you, and if you can be as detailed as possible, where were you and what was going on in your life when you became this rich black woman, Felicia Kelly? Where were you at? What was going on?
Here's what's funny. I was 6 years old, right? Because you asked me when I became the rich black woman, not when I accepted it or recognized it.
Well,
I'm
let's
very
do both.
intentional about words, right?
Yeah.
And so I was 6 years old, and my mom actually brought this moment up the other day. I was telling her about a new brand partnership, and she was saying, Felicia, remember when you wore that black suit to kindergarten? And I wore a suit. I lie to y'all not. I tell this story all the time. I wore a suit to kindergarten, and I had a little briefcase. I had the Mary Janes with the ruffle socks. I came with it. Now, I was the one leading the shoe tying line every single day, right? And that's when I started to get that, oh, she talks too much. Oh, she interrupts. But through all of that and becoming an adult and launching my business in 2016, I went through a series of things that continued to confirm that I was a rich black woman. And that was with or without the money.
Right.
And so for the people who say, why does she say rich black woman and not wealthy? Is because richness you can see. And it's not necessarily about what bag you're wearing or what shoes you're wearing, but people that have a rich life. Like when you walk up to somebody and be like, sis, I don't know her like that, but it's something about her I just like. That's probably a rich black woman. When you walk up to a young man or a young couple and you're like, they got it. I don't know what it is. That's probably a rich black couple. And so it took me having to go through a series of ups and downs in entrepreneurship and making that first six figures and realizing, oh, we don't do the same at 6 that we do at 7. Then making that first 7 and realizing that how I moved and my decision making is what made me a rich black woman. And so I know that was a series of steps, but I hope that that makes sense. But as far as starting the business, that was 2016.
So take me to that moment.
I have to really credit my husband for the moment of starting the business. A lot of times when people see me, they see Patrick off to the side or in the background. But we were in the car business together. I started in the car business in 2008. I'd lost my job and was looking for a job. And I opened the newspaper. Let me date myself a little bit. And I saw now hiring make up to $80,000 a year. I said, baby, I'm in. I'm 19 years old. 80 racks sounds good to me.
Yeah,
we didn't call them racks then, but we called it something. And I liked it. And so I applied for the job, was hired on the spot, and that's started my career in the auto industry. And in 2016, when I had moved back to North Carolina, I had spent 2009 and 2010 really battling a prescription pill addiction. And so I say, you know what, God, I don't really like the life I'm living. I think there's more somewhere. Let me be humble, go back to North Carolina to my parents' house and get my life together. And so I did that. And in 2012, I met my husband, and we've been rolling ever since. In 2016, after a series of promotions in the car business, because one thing about Fee, if I come in the room, I'm taking the top spot. I'm sorry. I like
Let's do it.
that's just me. And so after being the top salesperson and teaching my husband all he knows, so he could become the second top salesperson, and then being the first female promoted to finance manager in the group and becoming sales manager, my husband said, "Pause. I think you got something here. You've been helping all these people improve their credit, come back and be able to buy cars. You've been helping them with money management. Maybe you should start a business." And I said, "Doing what?" He said, "I don't know, but you always said that when you were a little girl, you knew you were going to be a businesswoman. And so maybe you should start something." And that's where I became a money coach, and then going from money coaching to business coaching to sales strategy, and now closing an entire coaching division of a company after building it to 7 figures. We're in a season of God. Really?
Right.
That's
right.
really God, comma, really question
Yeah.
mark. Like that's the whole sentence.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, man. That's
Like
how
Felicia,
I started it.
I love that because I know a little bit about the car industry. I have a brother
Yeah.
who's he's a finance manager, so we always talking, and so I know how that world is. Like you ain't even gotta like that's selling
brutal.
cars, finance man. That's not easy, and you gotta have some
14
integrity. If you
it's easy to not have integrity.
Right.
It's easy.
Right.
Yeah, it's
so easy. You've had, let's say, 10 plus years. I'm not gonna give out your date of birth, but at least
that's all right. We do it for the late 80s babies. That's cool.
Yeah. Over 10 years of working not only with customers in auto, but including working with folks digitally, right? And then also in person in your business and coaching. And one thing that I saw that really attracted me to you, one thing is like you are you online as you are right now, and as people have told me who you are behind the scenes, right?
Yeah, facts. All day.
That's number one, which is highly like attractive to get people to become a client. So I always tell people, be who you are, because that's going to attract the right people. It's going to repel the wrong people. But the second thing is that I saw how you speak about like canceling clients. So let's talk about that today.
Thanks.
Let's talk about canceling some clients, all right?
Yeah, that's the new book.
Right, because people are, when they get into the coaching or consulting space, they see 6 figures really fast, 7 figures doing this, or just 5 figures. Really. You know what I'm saying? Some people are like, look, I'm just trying to get me a nice little 5-6 piece real quick. And travel the world, work in Bali or whatever. Yeah. But I want to hear from you, because this is the part that I don't think a lot of people talk about, is canceling clients. Like, so for someone who's listening, they have a coaching business and man, they try to get to that bag, their next revenue goal. Like, what are some of the mistakes that they probably are making or have made, that trying to hire the wrong, or allowing somebody to hire, the wrong client, hiring them to coach them? Like,
some of the mistakes. Listen, number one, I want to give y'all actionable, like concrete. I'm not here to fluff y'all. That's one of the things I'm not about. Number one, first and foremost, is seeing yourself the way people see you. This is what I mean by that, because we say mindset, but let's go a little deeper on mindset, because mindset is first and foremost. I can't lie and say it's not, but let's go a little deeper on why mindset is so important. And it's because if what you see in the mirror isn't an accurate representation of who you are, you're going to make mistakes. I want to give you a real life example that I am dealing with right now, so much so that it has become a legal issue. I did not realize that people saw me at such a high level. I kept saying to myself, and I love that you asked this question. I literally had this conversation yesterday with one of my closest friends, who's also my director of operations. And I said, I made the mistake of becoming a client to someone who needed to hire me. Which means that at the same token, Felicia with that mindset would also take on a client that I had gone too far to help. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's start with the beginning of that, where I became a client of someone who should have been my client. I needed a specific service. And when I needed that service, I sought out information from a person that I thought had the experience to give me the proper referral. Meaning this person had a network, but it wasn't quality of network for where I was going. So I got the wrong referral. Right. You understand?
Right.
And so now I'm dealing with a issue that could have been avoided because I didn't see myself high enough. On the flip side of that, when I didn't see myself high enough, I launched a coaching program where I should have been becoming a resource to people that I try to actively serve. And so I now have a coaching program of people that I'm about 15 steps ahead of. So every question that they ask me, I have to think back to when I had that problem because I'm way past that. And I realized, I said, Fee, no. Now, the reason you can't stand getting on the calls with this group is because you're so far ahead of them that you have to take energy to go back to where they are, which means now it's time to cancel them as clients. And I need to become a resource to them. And I can do that through my free content. I can do that through my low cost content. I can do that through my digital products. The reason we get caught up that way is, one, because we're scared of the next level. And two, because we don't realize that a high ticket coaching program is not the only way to income.
Right.
You have that. Your high ticket is for your premier top tier clients. Stop trying to build a coaching program that has 50 people in it. Or 100 people in it. You don't have to scale your coaching program. There are other things that you can scale besides that, which is why you need to have different profit centers in your business. And so I don't want to take it too far, but I really wanted to zone in. I really wanted to zone in on why we need to be canceling clients. Canceling clients is not saying I am now better than you. It means that I am in a space where I now serve this particular group of people the best. So that means if God is going to take me to where I'm serving another group of people the best, that means there's somebody who's come behind me that can now serve these people. We just need to get out the way. Canceling clients is doing them a service.
Yes.
Keeping clients that you have grown past is a disservice to you and them. Because now you're not serving them in a proper spirit, because you aggravated as soon as you get ready to click live. You aggravated as soon as you get ready to click start meeting. If you spend I had a client tell me, Fee, I spent from 2 p.m. to 2:55 p.m. complaining about the fact that I got a 3 o'clock call. I said, well, you should have canceled that client 6 months ago. Right. So canceling clients is about recognizing where you are and making sure that you're serving the proper segment of your market the right way at all times. That's all it is.
Hey, you know what? That's it. Like, I don't even think we need 2 more. I think that's enough right there. If you're listening, right? Because I just want to make sure I understand you correctly, right? You're saying that there's levels to this.
Yes,
right?
100%.
Right? So you may be on level 10, but the coaching clients where you're even getting high ticket could be at level 4.
Yeah.
And that gap could cause issues for the client and for yourself when you should be going after clients who can meet you at the 10.
Yes. And here's why. I also want people to understand why that is. That's because if you're called to level 6 people right now, and you're at level 10 and you're focused on level 4, that means there's a good chance that there are steps between 4 and 6 that you forgot about because now they're second nature to you. So you don't think about them consistently enough to teach it on a regular basis. But guess what? You might be able to sit down for 90 minutes and record a really bomb digital product so that you can focus on level 4 through 6 and actively be thinking about them. Now, when you're serving the people in real time that you're coaching from level 6 to 8, because that's where you're taking them 6, 7, 8, you're on level 10. Now we remember enough about 6, 7, and 8 because it just happened not long ago. So that is why it's very important that we are keeping the people that are right now clients before us instead of trying to continue to serve the same people all along.
Man, drop some wisdom. I wish I had a burr, 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 burr. It'll go off right now. So I'm enjoying this. So when you think about, canceling clients, how do we go about doing that? What's the verbiage, or what are some of the things you've done to gracefully sever that relationship?
Okay, cool. So we start our offboarding process a lot sooner than most companies did, or most other coaching programs, because I'm a believer in coaching. Even though I'm retiring from coaching, I'm still a proponent for coaching. And so when I leave out of a program, I've been in a bunch of programs. I've invested over 6 figures into coaching. And so I realized that when I would offboard, a lot of times there would not be an offboarding call. And if it was maybe in the last 30 days. And so what we did is we started our offboarding offboarding calls, we made our offboarding calls a process. And so now we have a call that was 90 days out. And in 90 days out, that's the time to be assessing your clients. Here, write this down. If I am willing to take money from a client, I should be willing to put in the time to assess their next needs. Meaning, I'm not just going to focus on why they hired me. I'm going to start seeing around the corners and say, what do they need next? That 90-day out call gives you the opportunity to say, what has happened in the last 6 months? What has happened in the last 12 months? For us, it was a 12-month program. So 9 months in, 90 days out make complete sense. And then we can say, oh, you know what? Because remember, I'm at level 10. I'm taking them from 6 to 8. I remember at level 7, we had this problem, and they are right before hardcore level 7. Let me go ahead and prepare for how I'm going to work with them next.
Okay.
But we might have the situation where I may no longer be offering their next steps. If I'm coaching level 6 to 8 and they're on level 7, but in the middle of that, I start pivoting my business. I change the program. I start looking at different clientele. It's my responsibility to then say, this client was wonderful for this level, but they're not a good fit for where I'm going now. So let's go ahead and let them go. Now, the way to do that is to say to them, this is our focus as a company going forward. It seems to us that your focus is this, and this, and make sure, number one, you're on the same page with that client.
Right.
And if you are, then you say, okay, based on that, I don't think this will be the best way to serve you. And now we provide them a referral. Because if you're moving in your industry properly, you should not have a roster of just clients. You should also have a roster of colleagues that trust you at the same level that your clients do. So now you can refer them to someone else that's focused on what they're doing. Does that make sense?
I mean, all the sense in the world. I'm over here like, this is almost like a good sermon. I'm just over here just eating this up like, I'm loving it. So let's flip the script, right? So how do we go about identifying the right clients at of whatever level, right? So we understand canceling. How do we cancel out? And when I thought about your book, I was thinking like enrollment call type, because if you're doing high ticket, right, you want to make sure you're talking to someone and canceling that person like, hey, you're not a good fit for the program, let's not even take your money. Because some people are like, yo, you got a credit card? Swipe, I need that, right? And now have some chargebacks and some other issues. So how can we identify, as coaches and consultants that's focusing on profit and impact, how can we really like hone in on the right ideal client? How do we know, like, what is that moment, or what has it been for you where you was like, bing, you my people, let's rock?
So we have this thing, and I talk about this in the book, in Cancel Your Clients, called niche, grow, expand, right? Before you can ever really niche down in your market, you got to be real zoned in on who you are and where you are in life. I find that a lot of us take on bad clients because we're not clear on who we are. And if you're not clear on who you are, you cannot accurately understand what you do. And if you don't accurately understand what you do, it is very easy to not understand the level of impact that you are already making. And so now we do a couple of things. We have an issue with our own value. We have an issue with our own worth. And so now we can't even niche at all because we don't even have the proper pricing. And now our promise does not match our pricing. And so we promise the world. And so now we say, okay, well, I'm really called to startups, because subconsciously we think startup means we can charge them less because they don't know any better, and we're going to have to really beg them to invest. When really, I know people who come from billion-dollar families who have startups. Right? But that's because that's an internal issue. And so now once we recognize who we are, what we do, and we can accurately create a 5-figure offer that matches the promise and the price, we can then say, okay, now I serve the people who want XYZ types of results. I may not have the coaching program that teaches you all the things, but I really, really might be good at teaching Instagram ads.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're really good at teaching Instagram ads, now we can have clients that come to us to learn how to create profitable Instagram ads. This is what niche, grow, expand looks like in real time. Okay, I help people with Instagram ads. Yeah, I help people with Instagram ads. Wonderful. Now I've spent so much time studying the client, and I see what else they need regarding Instagram or what else they need regarding ads. And then I say, well, before I go forward with that, let me bring on someone who can then duplicate what I can do. Now I free myself at the same time. The problem is we put so much focus on the client and the business that we don't focus on what we need. Or we put so much focus on what we need, we don't accurately serve the client, right? I have a friend of mine, Yoli, who talks about harmony. The harmonious way to do this would then be to say, okay, cool. I'm now studying my clients. They need this additionally with Instagram. They need this additionally with ads. Let me make a note, put a pin in that. Let me not do it the internet way and automatically start offering this service because I need more money. Let me put a pin in this and say, okay, before I add something else, how do I duplicate what I teach in the Instagram ad class or program? Hey, let's hire someone that we can have that's part-time that manages the group, that manages the client feedback, and take that off my plate. Now I can say, you know what else they need? They don't just need Instagram ads. They also need to learn how to leverage their insights. So let me now add on a service. Let's grow a little bit, because now I have this person here to assist me. Now I can offer another service. It's time to grow a little bit. And we continue to repeat that pattern, And then we say, now I have a team. Now we offer multiple services. It's time for expansion. And now we say, who's getting canceled? Because if I have to expand, that means I now have less time. What we don't want to do is expand and commit to more time, because that's not why we started businesses. And so then once we get into expansion mode, we can then say, all right, boom, at this level, people can access me. Now I make myself a premium. How do we do that? We teach people at this level how to work with the company and not just with fee. So now Fee can continue to do what she's called to. The company can grow, and I determine every time who gets access to me, and the price continues to go up, because once the work can be done without you, you are now a premium product.
Come on.
Right? So if you make yourself a premium, because guess what? When you would go to Gary V's wine store, let's take it back to original Gary V with the wine. There probably came a time where if you wanted some wine, you couldn't just ring up Gary V. Gary V is now a premium. You can't just call him and be like, hey, yo, Gary, what up? Not if you don't know the man.
Right.
Because he's now made himself a premium. And hear me clearly, those of you who are saying, but Fee, that's Gary V. I want you to understand that Gary V started out just like you.
Come on.
Apple started out just like you. Samsung started out just like you. With somebody saying, I know what I'm going to do. And then they did that thing. They started out as a baby in their mama belly, just like you. And then somehow they got into the earth. Either she pushed them out or the doctor cut you out and you got here. Everybody started the same. No, the money wasn't the same. No, the situation wasn't the same. But at the end of the day, people who are successful in life have said, and I mean ultimately successful, internally and externally. They started out saying, I know what I'm going to do. And then they went and did that. Roll with the punches and everything. But these are some of the exact strategies that we use as a company to grow and to hit those targets.
Man, listen, y'all better, if you don't share this episode with a family or a friend, you are doing a disservice to yourself. I'm just going to put it out there. And you know what? On my podcast, I never, ever really ask people to share or subscribe. I just like, I just want to give y'all content. And just keep it moving. But I must take a moment right here in the middle of this show and say, share this episode with someone who's a coach or a consultant. Even if you don't know them, like, you know what? I see you on IG. I think you may benefit from this conversation. So real quick, because I don't want to take too much more of your time. We've had some technical difficulties and some things happen. And, I know you got to get to some things, and same here. But I want to just ask you this question. What's next for your business? And for you, if you can share.
Yeah, I love this question, man. We're wrapping up the final bank statement weekend. Bank
Yes.
statement weekend has been our signature event for the last 3 years, and this is the final one. So we've closed our coaching division of Cyrus and Co. We are wrapping up the final bank statement weekend, and what's next for us is completely focusing on the Rich Black Woman brand.
Yeah.
And what that looks like is a global opportunity for rich Black women across the world to connect so that they can grow in money mindset lifestyle, so we can make more money than we've ever made, thrive in purpose like never before. And the ultimate goal is helping Black women across the globe go beyond the skill set.
Mm.
We know how to make money, y'all.
Yeah. Yeah.
We know how to make money. You Black a Black woman into a corner with 3 bears, she gonna have 3 bear heads and a fur coat to match. Like,
Selling them.
Black women, we know how to make money. We know how to get it done, but it's how to go beyond the skill set. See, because we've gotten caught up in our titles, we've got caught up in our doctorates and our MBAs and our CEOs and our commas, right?
Yeah.
But who are you, sis?
Yeah.
Who are you? Before the wife, before the mom, before the boss, founder, CEO, who are you? And where does you and who you are fit into the ultimate purpose of your life? And so that is what's next for us, is to focus on teaching Black women across the globe to go beyond the skill set and find that rich Black woman that is already lying dormant in them.
Man, it's so much I want to say, but I'm gonna wait till we turn off this podcast. But I just want to say thank you so much. This is why, like, when I told you, I said all this technical difficulties, all this, that means we're gonna have a fire conversation, and I feel it up in here in my shana. So I know those who are watching, you and those who are listening, have thoroughly enjoyed this. So how can people get in contact with you? What's the best way for someone? They're like, man, I never heard of Fee. I never heard of Felicia. Like, what up, though? How can I reach her?
2 ways. So you can follow me on Instagram at official Felicia Kelly, Felicia Kelly. And you can also text the word join to 919-647-7400. And that is where we share lots of resources. We do Rich Black Woman Friday. We're just sharing all the gems. What I've loved about now that I've gotten over God's instruction to close the coaching program is that now I can just share freely. There's no pressure. And so we have a lot of gems that we are sharing with our audience and things coming up. So that's the best way to connect and stay in touch.
Man, y'all better reach out to her and join and get going before 2022. That's all I'm going to say. Rock with her before 2022. You may not be able, it may be super exclusive. Like, you can only get an invite. Man, I don't know why I just said that, but okay. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Felicia, I'm like, you just blessed me. I mean, like, you don't even know it. I'll say it once we get off, but you just blessed me so much on this interview here. Thank you for saying yes when I reached out. Like, your team made sure we made this happen. So blessings to them as well. And anything you want to say before we leave?
You know, I'm just thankful that the kingdom time is now. I just want to let y'all know. I just want to be very clear. The kingdom's time is now. And so if you've been contemplating whether you're going to make a move, now's the time to make it.
There it is, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And I am going to say on the end of this episode, if you like what you heard, share it. Make sure you rate and subscribe and review wherever you hear this podcast. With that being said, have a good one. Until the next time, continue to be social on social media.